Hello my gorgeous makeup loving friends. I assume that you have clicked on this video because you are interested in seeing how the Arttitude Cosmetics Maneater palette actually performs. Now, I have a previous video where I talk about the production of this particular palette and how it came to be its current iteration. I will link that down below. But today's video is all about doing this particular look, trying out the brushes, trying out the lashes, and telling you guys what I think of it. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then do please keep on watching. So in addition to the fabulous palette, there's also a rather nice brush set and there's some false lashes as well. The brush set itself comes with 18 brushes. Some are for the eyes and then some are for the face. So really in those 18 brushes, you have quite a few things for your whole makeup look. You've blush brushes, you've some foundation brushes, there's kind of a little bit of everything there, and I quite like the shapes of some of these. And I'll also say that they are so soft, really, really nice. For me, I think the only negative thing that I can say is that I wish there were smaller detailing brushes, but in all, I feel like this is quite a nice little collection, and I will be using this in the video. And then we have two styles of lashes. This one is Muse, and this one is Trending. I'll show you them without the packaging now, so you can kind of see them a little bit better there. Trending, which is down at the bottom, is definitely a much more full lash, and up at the top we have Muse, which is very full, but it's not quite as long. So I'm going to be checking out, I think probably Muse, the top one today, just to see if they are suitable for glasses wearers like myself. But I've got to say, Arttitude lashes are pretty damn good. I really enjoy them, and I think in general these lash styles make an awful lot of sense. They are very confident, bold. There's nothing demure about these. They're very powerful. So I kind of figured, because the theme of the palette is all about female empowerment and also jungle, I wanted to go for something that made it look like I was a little bit of a chameleon. So there we go, and let's hope I can camouflage this spot later. It's a whole thing. But the first thing I did was use one of these Arttitude Cosmetics brushes. Unfortunately, they're not named, so that's a little bit, not annoying, but I like knowing the names of brushes. And I'm going into the shade Nocturnal, and I am just putting this into the crease. My goodness, the amount of brushes that I have used for this look. I mean, it's fine right now, but when I have to clean these later, oh my goodness, that is not going to be fun. And I kind of have this thing where every time I use brushes, I must clean them straight away. I can't really focus unless they're done. It's a whole thing. But anyways, just putting this kind of shade here, I have to say I can really see that she's worked on her matte formulation, because this is, I mean, it was pigmented before, but it's blending much easier. It isn't skipping over the skin like it kind of had been doing in the previous iteration. So you can really see a lot of time and effort went into this. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how incredibly happy am I that she put in a black? About an 11. You know me, I've always said I feel like there has to be a black in every palette. I'm using another Arttitude Cosmetics brush, again unnamed, and I'm going into the shade Wanted. Now this is an incredibly pigmented black. It's darker than my soul, so I quite like that. And yes, I'm putting it on with a fluffy brush, so it won't even give you an idea of just how pigmented this is, because you know fluffy brushes, they tend to disperse it. But this is really good. Now, thing is, obviously I said to Ruks, I was like, oh, I think this needs a black in it. And she went backwards and forwards trying to get different formulations, and she was showing me all the pictures in via Instagram. That's primarily how we communicate. And oh my goodness, the first couple I was like, oh yeah, that's not bad, not amazing, but also not bad. And I was like, okay, that might need to go back. And oh, towards the end, then the swatches that she was giving me, I was like, what on earth? It was so deep, so dark. It was a complete void, and I was here for it. I'm using the same brush that I did before, and I'm going back into Nocturnal. And this is really just to get the two shades to blend together. But I have to say, so far, and I have used most of the shades in the palette, I think I've used all of them at some point in one shape or another. They blend really well. I really feel like she's stepped up her game quite a bit when it comes to the mattes. Not that I get super excited about mattes, but it is good when you find a nice formulation, and I feel like she's really managed this on this palette. We've got our depth kind of going on here, and I'm taking another Arttitude sort of a liner brush, and I'm going into the shade that the palette is named for, Maneater. And oh my god, it was so funny because when this second palette came in, Sahil was like, I swear if she's gotten rid of that teal, well he calls it blue, that bluey shade, I'm going to be so annoyed. So he was very happy when I opened it and he saw that it was still there. He's a real thing about like bluey shimmers. Missa, he might be you, I don't know. And all I'm doing is just kind of popping that there along the lash line. Like look at that pigment. There's obviously no glitter glue or anything like that. I'm just kind of stamping it on here for the moment because I will be dispersing it. I didn't want any like super harsh lines, but you can really see a little goes a long way. I think personally, I mean look at that, that the shimmers are where this bloody palette shines, because I'm also going to be using like bits for the face as well for a highlight. I think you know which one I'm going to use. Don't blame me. And then I'm just using this Morphe M562. I'm not taking any product on the brush, and I'm just going to blend that out. So really just taking the shade Maneater and bringing it up towards the crease. Now part again of why I have like that black base down is just so you can really see the shift on it. And it has just a beautiful sort of a sparkly effect to it, which makes my little heart quite happy. I'm just going to say I do enjoy it. I mean, this alone is just so incredibly beautiful. It kind of gives me, you know, the Dose of Colours Friendcation palette, that sort of bluey shade. It reminds me a little bit of that. I think they did it in the Block Party series. This would be fine just by itself, but I'm an idiot and want to test out as many shades as possible. So in for a penny, in for a pound. I am taking this blank canvas E10 and I'm going into the shade Free, which is sort of like a sort of a shimmery pale blue, and that's part of why I'm putting it on the brow bone. But you get really nice pigment with this. I was quite pleased. I mean, look at that. I could actually just be like a normal person and leave it at this sort of an eye look. Like that's enough. But again, I wanted to show you how as many colours as possible actually perform. And I mean, look at that. That's like one little dab of pigment on the brush. That is working really nicely. But what I will say is take everything that I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because you see, I'm a little bit emotionally invested in this because I did like give feedback, etc. I worry a little bit about how objective I can be on this. So take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt. Maybe watch this on mute. That might be the best way to watch most of my videos. And you can decide for yourself. You can see how well or not these kind of shadows are actually performing. I'm just going to take a little bit of Nocturnal, pop it into the crease, just to bring it up a little bit, because I have this thing where my eyelids, particularly around the crease, just have a tendency to make eyeshadow want to fuck off. So sometimes it can look a little bit lighter around there. It's just because I have hooded eyes, so it seems to kind of wear off a little bit of the eyeshadow. Shout out to everyone there who has hooded eyelids like myself. It's annoying, isn't it? But that's it so far, and I gotta say, this alone makes a beautiful, beautiful eye look. I'm going to go and cut out a little bit of, well, it's right here, and we'll come back and do the next bit. It's the frustrating moment when you realise that you really didn't get them to match. Yeah, I don't know why I always struggle to get this eye to match. I always go like a little bit bigger. I'm going to blame my poor eyesight on that. I'm now taking a Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Carnivore. And oh my goodness, look at that. Super pigmented. Like, I'm just very lightly dusting this on here because I obviously want to be able to blend it out and I don't want to have a chunk of pigment. But look at that. Goes on very nicely. Oh, I like it. Another Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Feline. And this is quite nice and pinky toned, and I feel like it works really well with Carnivore here. So I am just popping that on again. You'll see the mattes do have a lot of pigment, even the lighter shades. So I really appreciate that. Can I resist a shimmer? No. No, I can't. I tried to not make this be a super shimmery look, but like inevitably, I can't help it, the shimmers are fab. I'm taking this NYX sort of silicone applicator and I'm going into the shade Predator. And like I said, I really didn't want this to be super shimmer heavy. So all I'm doing is just kind of applying it around here. It's very annoying that I can't quite get the same precision on this side that I can on the other, just because of like right hand, right eye. It's very difficult. Couldn't remember right and left there. Jesus, Teresa. It's not going well, lads. Not going well. And then I'm taking a blank canvas E10 and I am just going to be blending. And thankfully, these do blend, again, very, very nicely. I'm not focusing too much on the shimmer right now. I mostly just want to have the two pinky shades kind of blend into each other. And they do work quite nicely. Now sometimes, you know, if you want to be lazy, just take both shades on the same brush and they'll blend quite nicely. But I went kind of old school with this and wanted to see. So we have a nice blend kind of going on there. I'm taking this Inglot 208 and I'm going back into the shade Predator, which is the pink sparkly shade. And I took a tiny bit, I mean tiniest amount, and I'm just going to go backwards and forwards because I don't want to have it be like super like in your face. I just want to have just a slight element of the sparkles just kind of along there. So that's that section. I'm now going to cut out this part. Wish me luck. They do not match. At least I'm generally somewhat consistent in my crappy ability to cut things out. But sure, look, it's fine. It's not a big deal. It all washes off. I'm taking this Zoeva 238 and I'm going into the shade Jungle. And I don't want to have too much of this either. I definitely have cut out way more here on this side than I did on the other side. But sure, look, it's all right. There's a little bit of a shimmer to this. It's almost not quite satin, but not far off of it, which I know Tia will love. She loves the satin, JK. She absolutely fucking hates them. I don't mind them. I quite like this here in this sense, like it kind of makes sense to me. And then I'm taking one of the Arttitude Cosmetics brushes and I'm going into the shade Camouflage. Now this one got reformulated a couple of times because although it went on okay, like as in it blended okay, initially it went on and it was a little bit patchy and it didn't swatch the best. So there were several reformulations to get it to this point, and I think you can really see the difference in this formulation of Camouflage versus the previous one. So you'll see that in my last video, like how that one applied. So like I said, I mean, you can really see here, there's no patchiness. Like, look at that. It's just straight on, no issues. And I love this sort of a shade of colour. It's like a poopy green and I live for it. This is my kind of thing. But like I said, I mean, you could see that's a totally different formulation than it was previously. So I really appreciate that she took the time to go back and just really work that one out. I'm here for it. And then I'm just taking a blank canvas E10 and I am blending between the two of these. Now these are a little bit difficult to blend because one is like a little bit satiny and then one is an actual matte. So it does take a little bit of back and forth with this. So just have some patience is all I can say. You know, have your tea beside you, have a little drink. You're grand, it's fine. Although if you don't drink tea, I don't know. I did come across somebody recently who didn't drink tea and I was like, oh my god. Can I just say I'm so like frustrated with how creasy my eyelids are. Like I feel like I could take some of the folds and just hide little presents underneath. Oh, look, a gem. Like, it's ridiculous at this point. I'm taking a BH Cosmetics kind of flat packing brush and I'm going into the shade Wild. I mean, are you surprised that I managed to include this at some point? This shade has been calling to me. Like just kind of, Teresa, ah. Is it as pigmented as say Ecstasy from Be Perfect? No, it's not. Let's be 100% honest. But I think this is actually pretty darn good. Like once you get it on, it's working pretty well. And I'm taking that blank canvas E10 again and I am just swishing between the two of these to really get them to blend. Now I don't have any major issue with getting the two of these to blend. It is just mostly, you know, work it out, it'll be grand. Give it a bit of time. Because like, I mean, you can see even just there, it's already starting to blend really, really nicely. So just give it a minute or two of, well, actually even less than that really. Just give it a minute of solid blending and you're fine. I'm taking another one of the Arttitude Cosmetics brushes and I'm going into the shade Siberian. And I really wanted to make sure that I could put a yellow in this because the yellow from the Phoenix palette is just spectacular. So I really wanted to show you how this one operated. And again, I'm using this with like a fluffy brush. So usually fluffy brush like disperses the pigment, but you're still seeing there just how pigmented that yellow actually is. It's something to talk about. I mean, it actually changes the color of the shade Free there if you give it enough time. Like, it's quite cool, I have to say. I think it's a brilliant yellow. And now I'm taking another one of the Arttitude Cosmetics brushes and I am just going to swish between that kind of lime green and the yellow. So it's actually like I'm swishing between wild and Siberian. A wild Siberian, you say? It feels like, I don't know if anyone played the Pokemon games on the Game Boy. It was like a wild whatever has just come out of the grass. So this is a wild Siberian. Don't know what that would involve. Obviously she means a tiger, but I'm thinking of a person who lives in Siberia. I don't know what his name would be. Don't know why I'm assuming it would be a man. Just assume that men will jump out of things. It's far more likely than a woman jumping out of something. I mean, it speaks for itself as to how it actually blends. Like, there's no major issue with it. I am taking one of the liner brushes and I'm going into the shade Wanted. Now, full disclosure, I actually tapped a bit of pigment off there because, again, this is very pigmented and I don't want it to take over completely because it would. It has that sort of a personality where it's like, hey, this is all about me. Let me be the thing that you are talking about. Which is fine. It's fine. And then I'm taking the Zoeva 224 and I'm going into the shade Beast because I want to use that to blend with Wanted and all of the other shades because I'm a naughty, naughty thing. And you can see here just how nicely it blends. Again, actually don't listen to me. Form your own conclusions. Do you think this blends well? What are your impressions of this? Because as far as I'm concerned, this works beautifully and I don't have any major issues with it. And I'm kind of here for how smoky that is. I am taking my blank canvas E10 and I am just kind of going to go between jungle and camouflage because I really want to kind of get the two of them a little bit more kind of blended. I feel like that has blended quite nicely. I am just taking this little Arttitude Cosmetics brush and I'm going into the shade Bengal. And I mean, we're pretty much done now. It's just the liner. And in case you're wondering about what liner I'm using, you'll be shocked, absolutely appalled to know that it is actually the Arttitude Cosmetics Split It paint liner. I love that. I used the two kind of duochrome metallic shimmers in that because I mean, it's so hard to find anything like that. And then finally, just using this Inglot 208 and just dispersing that shade Bengal. It is very pigmented. Like that shade alone is really quite interesting. So friends, that's it. I'm just going to put some liner on and I'm going to finish off my face. I'll probably use more of these brushes just so I can chat to you guys about it. And I think I'm going to use the Lashes Muse, but you'll see it all together once I'm done. I finished off the rest of my makeup and I did put on the Lashes Muse and they're spectacular. Don't mind my base makeup. I have a trashy foundation on that I'm just trying to get rid of. But for full disclosure, I used the shade Tiger as a blush and I used Untamed as a highlighter. Are we surprised? We knew that was going to happen. But I'm going to zoom you in now so you can see the full eye look and you can see the lashes as well. By the way, they are glasses friendly. Hooray! And that wasn't a sarcastic hooray, that was a genuinely like, yeah, I am quite happy. Now I didn't get those pinky line bits quite symmetrical, but do you know what? Close enough. You can see that those lashes, they're doing quite well against the glasses. Quite happy about that. I feel like everything actually blended quite well. You can really see how it all performed there. Yes, I did take my fringe out of the way because you couldn't really see the blend otherwise. You'd just be looking at my fabulous, fabulous hair. So let's actually talk about the collection overall, the brushes, let's start on that. These are the only ones that I didn't end up using, so I used a good 11 out of the 18, and I gotta say, I was quite happy with them. However, I'm not gonna rate them yet, because for me, to really determine whether or not I like a brush, it's over long-term use and how well they actually like wash and perform, etc. I will say some of my faves are from Arttitude. I did end up using one of their brushes from their Phoenix collection. Yet again, I can't help it. My little mitts just always go for it. But so far, I think it's quite nice. And I gotta say, the little box thing that it comes in, the tub, very, very cute. The lashes, I know I've only tried Muse, so that's all I can really talk about right now. But Muse, sweet Jesus, love it. I will say, really like Arttitude Cosmetics lashes in general. They're quite like glasses friendly, which I enjoy. And let's just get on to the main thing, which was the palette. Can I just say, I managed to use 16 out of 20 of these shades today. Where's my gold star? Where's my gold star? There's only, the only shades I didn't use were Forest, Kingdom, Claws, and Hunter. I used everything else. So this will give you an idea of how it actually performs. Now for me, I love this. These are all the sort of tones that I really like. I feel like the formula around the mattes is just so good. It's become very blendable, really easy to actually work with. There's no patchiness, there's no skipping. The shimmers, sweet Jesus, you can blend them out so that they're more glittery, which I personally quite enjoy, but you could also have them have their own moment. And I love that I can use some of them as highlighters, blushes, all these sort of things. I am reluctant to give this a mark out of 10 because, again, I feel I'm very biased on this particular one, having been not involved, but having some say or giving feedback towards the palette. So I am a little bit nervous about being all like, I like this one, blah, 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 blah. But for me, what I'm going to say is, if I saw this in a shop, we're just saying that I'm hypothetically in like a Sephora, which we don't have, or a Boots, which we do have. If I saw this, would I buy it? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very difficult to see this online because it doesn't translate that well. Like even here, you don't get to see how kind of special it really is. This is the sort of one that you kind of have to get your little paws on to kind of swatch it and get used to it. But I did kind of want to show you how it performs. And for me, I would definitely, if I hadn't been gifted this, I would buy it. You know, if my house burned down and everything was gone and I had to rebuild from scratch, I would be getting this. This would be not quite the first thing that I would get. There's a few other things that I would get first, you know, foundation, etc. But yeah, this would be on the list. I really enjoy it. But my friends, that is it. I think it's a really, really nice collection. Again, I'm a little bit biased. Ruks is fantastic. If you do like this collection, I do have a code for 10% off. It's not affiliated. I don't get a kickback. It's a code to give you money off. It's Teresa 10. I know, so new, so imaginative, so original. But if you are interested in it, you can get it. I will also say the brand is vegan and cruelty free. I know a lot of you guys find that very, very important, so keep that in mind. I know this wasn't a review for the split it liner, but Jesus, I love it. I love it. I get so much use out of it. It is battered. Like it's led to life is all I can say. But my friends, that is it. That's the end of the video. Do please like, comment and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell and do please share, because sharing is caring, except of course for STDs, in which case, you know, just wrap it up. Don't be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.